Let's roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Financial Life podcast. But this is the Military Monday segment, and today I have an exciting guest, an amazing guest, another Marine. Number one, number
Ebra.
two, he is. Well, I guess, but he'll clarify this. A guy that makes money no matter where he goes. He's like a nomad, but in a more.
Damn straight.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Before I introduce and tell you who this guy is and why does he go by the name of Underdog Millionaire, we'll get to that. This is the last thing I got to say, and this is the last podcast for 2025 as I say this, right? So, I
Holy
mean, I'm sorry, for
smokes. I'm taking the
2024.
last one?
Yeah, you're making the last one for 2024,
What?
bro. So, last time of the year, I get to say, hey, look, some of you know, some may not know. I do some things to help people out with some business credit, business funding, credit, one-on-one coaching. If you'd like help in any one of those areas, please go to speakwithmatt.info. Again, speakwithmatt.info. No need to put in triple W, just speakwithmatt.info. Takes you right to my calendar. Book a 30-minute call. We'll talk and go from there. And this episode is also sponsored by Born to Risk. One of the co-authors of the book. If you'd like a copy, reach out to me. And all the proceeds. Oh, excuse me, I cannot talk today. Proceeds go out to help out other veteran organizations. With that being said, I want to introduce my guest. This will be an interesting conversation to Dr. Obom, like Obama, but Dr. Obom, the
Without the
Underdog
A, just
Millionaire.
twice as sexy, bro. Twice as sexy. That's what's up.
How you doing, man?
Man, if I was better, I would be just as smooth as you with some hair. But as you can see, that's not happening today, bro. That is not happening
Smoothing with
today.
some hair. You're just
Yeah,
hairless, except for the eyebrows.
absolutely, man. And shout out to your sponsors too, man. Born to Risk. I know the founder, another devil dog. So looks like things are moving in the Marine way. Ebra.
Yeah, rah. The Marine trifecta right here. So
There you go, man.
here we go. So
I
we
love
all
it.
know you serve in the Marine Corps. I have to ask this question: what branch you serve? I serve the Army. Boo! Get off my podcast. I do it, people.
Yeah,
But no, we spoke early this year. It's been months,
we did. Yeah.
and I think you got the rank of gunny, right? If I
Gunner
remember.
Sergeant. Yep.
Yeah,
Before I left.
gunner, sorry. How long were you in the Marine Corps for? And then, like, what made you get in the Marine Corps? Were you like going to join a different branch, or were you like, no, I'm going to here is what I'm going to do, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So, well, you know, I got out at 20. So I did 20. The goal was to do a full 30-inch step. For those of you who are not familiar with that jargon, that's a full 30 years and left because I don't like owing anybody anything, right? You get
Yeah.
out and you still owe the Marine Corps 10 years, possibly they could call you back as 30 years of
Uh-huh.
service. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if I did 30, they can't call me back.
Right.
However, I stopped at 20 and they still couldn't call me back because my retirement was rudely interrupted by three improvised ID explosive devices,
Oh.
AKA, right? So
Mm.
even though it was at 20 years, it was medical retirement. So they just called me on my last enlistment. And I tell folks a lot, I'm not that patriotic. Like I didn't go to die for my country. I'll let that bastard be patriotic and die for his country.
Hmm.
And we did a lot of that. We help a lot of folks be patriotic, right? So
Yeah.
I came back. I was almost patriotic. I flatline died 3 times.
Oof.
I even got the Purple Heart and all that craziness. Like you don't really. That's the one medal. It's cool to have, but you don't really want it because you
Yeah.
got to either die, bleed in combat, lost consciousness, all this other stuff, right? And all that happened, right? I got the scars and stuff to prove it, right?
Oof.
Bro, that one that was not cool. I almost lost my whole elbow, a whole bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. Right? Like anyway, and all the things that needs to happen for you to get a Purple Heart, like went down the list, like it all happened. It's like I was trying to check the box. I wasn't. So
It's kind of like was it the Medal of Honor? Like
yeah,
you don't aim for that because 90% of people that get it are dead.
yeah.
It's like
Posthumously,
no,
no.
no,
Sorry,
I'm not
bro.
aiming for that. Nah. And if you do survive, you are too bad.
Yeah,
It's like oh shit. It's one of those like you don't really aim for that. It just happens
it just
by
happens. Yeah.
chance.
So yeah. Right. So the short answer to your question is 20 years. The last 2.5 was basically spent at home on orders, waiting to see, because I was on the infantry side of the house. We're in the middle of war. So They needed to take my line number off, for those who are familiar with that, out of an active status and basically send me home till I got better. And I never got better. So former President Barack Obama wrote me a wonderful retire your ass at home letter. And that's how she rolls.
You're done. You're like that.
Yeah.
Can't say shit.
You ain't got to leave, but you got to get a hell off of active duty.
Right. It's like Commander Chief told me, like, I can't say shit, and if I do, it's not gonna go really well.
Yeah. If the Commander in Chief tell you go, who do you go to? Jesus? Well, Jesus ain't no. There's no rebuttals, bro.
No, there isn't. It's like, you're done. Have fun. Go play golf. Do what you want. You don't care. Wow, you got a letter from the president saying you're done. I would have been like, oh shit, give me a beer.
Right.
That's it. I got 3 shots. Like, what do I do? I don't know. Wow.
3 sheets to the wind, bro. Let's go.
Wow. And then from there, did you get right into business? Because I was on your I watched your talk at the virtual CLA summit. And did you write in business from there, or did you have a knack for business then, or what happened after that?
Man, I think it's so cool. By the way, if y'all are watching, I think you did your research and homework here. You're like so sly with these questions, but these questions you ask me,
it's organic, bro. I just
Okay?
remember things. I remember you talking. I was like, I'm gonna have this guy on. I'm asking questions. So it's
right?
it's not hard. I'm just like, I'm thinking,
right.
like, I remember
you got me going into all the deep stuff like right away. He didn't even take me out to dinner. No,
fuck
date,
that. No. I'm going in. Like, you got a story. You got some good shit. Like, and I asked myself this question: how can I do this? How can I take 2 month vacations and only work 7 days out of the year? And I was like, what? I was like, holy shit! This guy has to be on the podcast. He knows because Jose told me that, like, he told me about a little bit about you. He said that you're like almost like you have it set up where you don't have a house. You just live wherever you feel like it.
Professionally homeless, bro.
How do you do? So you know some shit, and I was like, I'm gonna ask this guy some questions, like spill the beans. You know what I mean? Like, I know this stuff. I'm not dumb. Remember that. So anyway.
Okay, so to your question, right? So, with the retirement, when I got injured and blown up, in Iraq, I was actually paralyzed from the waist down. I was in a wheelchair for 9 months, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, right? So that's one of the reasons why they send my ass home, so that I can recover and get stuff together. Wounded Warrior Battalion, I would go in. So my job for 2 years was basically going and get medical help, right? I needed to get my head fixed. I needed to get, because I was going through some stuff. I came back and I was going through a real bad divorce at the time.
Damn. On top of being injured, and that sucks.
On top of that, going through a real bad divorce. As I was retiring and leaving the military, I lost everything. So when I say everything, I ended up homeless, living out of my car for quite a while, for about 5 years. It's crazy in this transition, right? So how did I go into business? As well, with all that PTSD, trauma, depression, suicide ideation, the divorce, all this other stuff, I couldn't work. I was unemployable. So
yeah,
I didn't have a chance. Right. I didn't have a choice. Now, what got me into business is I got into direct sales, network marketing back then, right? One of the reasons I got into it was a friend of mine give me a book to read. First, it was he gave me The Slight Edge, and then The Secret was out. The Secret was like big back then, so you can Slight Edge and The Secret. So I used to read the Bible, The Slight Edge, and watch The Secret every day, all day, like 9 hours a day, like going through just trying to reprogram myself, right? Because like I was jacked up, bro. It's like, and when they said paralyzed from the waist down, let's just be real. That's paralyzed from the waist down. What's right below the waist? Hello, no use of that shit. Okay, third leg not working. Okay.
Wow.
So most people ask me, like, oh, what was your motivation to walk? It was never to walk. It was to get laid. And you try taking that away from someone like 29, 30 years old, bro. Okay. When I could use that weapon pretty well. And all of a sudden I got nothing. Like everything you have. So that was my motivation. It wasn't to walk or talk or any of that stuff. It was to be able to get
some. The only a man would be like, I'm gonna get walking so I can get me some. Not for help. Not for no. It's because I need to be able to function down below and go for it.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you don't think about that. Listen, all right, let me get.
No, but that makes sense because in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon talks about sex is a very, very
Yeah, the power, sex,
big motivator.
transportation,
It's an
chapter
important thing.
11 in
Like,
that
yeah,
book. It's
yeah,
extremely powerful. The most powerful men and women on the planet are highly sexed. Period. Ended.
yeah.
You can, like, what did Diddy, Jennifer Lopez, what do all of them get in trouble for?
Sex crimes.
Same shit. Sex, right? It's just misdirecting the energy. It's an
Right.
extremely powerful energy. Listen, the sexual energy is really the power of creation,
That's what it's for. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Because at
right?
least for
So
men, once we're done, we're like, oh, I feel nice because you gave your energy to create a life. That's what it's for. It's different for us.
exactly.
That makes sense. I'm like,
So
oh, but we can have an internal orgasm, and that's like totally different. But
right,
that's redirecting it to actually charging you up versus just let me just go out there and just get some and all that stuff.
exactly. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, that's what he called transmute, power,
Yeah,
sexual
that
transmute,
makes
chapter
sense. Yeah, that
11,
makes sense. Because when I
right?
first read it, I read the book once. I was like, because he didn't really tell you exactly what to do. It's like talks about. It. I'm like, I don't understand what he's talking about. What does he mean? Like use it. I'm like, it's almost
Yeah,
like someone came in and said, no, 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 we have to water this down and bullshit it. So you kind of have to
yeah,
figure it out. And I was like,
yeah.
but I have
That's
to do
why.
my own research. And now I get it. Now I'm like, oh, that's what it is. But he did this.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said when the student is ready, right, the secrets will reveal itself.
Right.
So it's not until you're at a different level of maturity do you understand the same stuff,
Yep.
right? Like, for example, if you have kids and you look at a lot of cartoons, there's three jokes in every joke. There's the kid joke, the
Right.
teen joke, and the adult joke in every joke. As you get older, the shit gets funnier because
Right.
the context of the joke is revealed to you later on,
Ah.
right? A lot of cartoons are so sexually driven with all these sexual innuendos. How do you get parents to go watch them? Because it's funny as hell for the parents. They
Right.
get the sexual innuendos, but the kids don't. They just get the stupid funny stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's a level of maturity, right? So it's the same thing. So,
Yeah, 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 you're right in
anyways,
that. That would make sense why when Shrek first came out,
yeah,
I understood well, I was in high school and I understood the sexual jokes that time and
yeah,
my parents understood it. That's why it's the daughter.
yeah, it's the daughter. She just woke up, by the way. Right? It's morning
Live on the
for her. She's
podcast. I
living
like
that
it.
entrepreneur life too. But to the question, what drove and got me into it was when I got into direct sales. I understood something from one of my mentors. He said, in order to have a better life, you need to have a better philosophy, right? So your philosophy is everything you know, how you hold it, and how it affects what you do. So I
Right.
needed to change basically my framework. I needed to change my mindset, right? So he started giving me books. I started reading these books over and over and over and over and over and reading more of them. It started to change because what was I reading for 20 years? War manuals, training manuals, development, how to defeat the enemy. One of the greatest books I've ever read that my mentor told me to read again, but from a different vantage point, was The Art of War by Sun Tzu, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but now I'm looking at the art. What is war this time? Poverty was my enemy. So everything like the battle of deception, like war is about deception. Business is about deception and misdirection. A lot of folks there's a lot of folks like him or love him or not, like Rockefeller, right? He based a lot of his success on deception, right? You have to learn to deceive a whole lot of different people. But
Right.
that's what, if you read the book, like the 38 letters to his son, you learn a lot in that book, right? By the way, that's a good book to read, by the way.
What's it called?
38 letters of Rockefeller to his son.
Wow, I didn't know it was an actual book.
Listen, bro, all these letters from Rockefeller to his son from 18 like 60 something to 1900s when he was in his 80s, writing about everything. And it started to put things into perspective. I think it was like letter 7 or letter 8 when he was talking about this, this year we celebrated the late president Abraham Lincoln. I'm like, dude was alive when Lincoln was alive talking about, I'm like, right. See, different things get to put into perspective, man, when you
Right.
start taking. Imagine getting some nuggets from that dude. He wrote 38 letters to his son. Imagine what he told him. It's a powerful book. It's a real good book. Anyways, I started reading tons and tons of books like those that had great substance,
Right.
right? That started to change the direction of my thinking. when it changed the direction of my thinking in direct sales, it changed the direction of how I approach people. It changed more to building relationships than trying to always make a sale, right? So when you're developed, you like sales breath go away from you. It's like you brush that. Every book is like Colgate. You're brushing away the sales breath. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
right. Even though the number one skill you need to learn as an entrepreneur is how to sell, you just don't go in for the sale. You have to learn to build true rapport. And not everyone you talk to is the sale. Sometimes it's a link leading you to a leader, or a leader that's leading you to a link to make a sale. But most people think that everybody they sit down and talk to, they got to make a sale. And no. That's commission breath, man. So
people don't like it. People are like, I don't want to deal with you.
Right. So that first 3 years, man, in the car, that's why I stayed 5 years, because the first 3, it was bad commission breath. I was like, when you call it, I guess you would call it halitosis for commission, right? Like, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I started learning like this stuff is not working. And it's not about reading the books. So I started reading some of the books that everybody was talking about again, over and over and over and over, until things started revealing themselves to me. I was like, oh, well, it ain't about reading the 100 books. It's about taking action on the 100 books. So then I started focusing on the top 10 and start, right? And over the years, I have my top 500. Now I have my top 50 books that I read over. I have 50 books that I read over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm never going to stop reading them. Like Think and Grow Rich is one of them. I've read that book over 200 times, right? And took action on it. There's a difference with like someone else could have read it 200 times, but are they taking action? Are you learning from who you formerly were? Right? Then I learned reading a book on how to read a book. Like most people don't even know how to read a book.
Yeah. That was
That's another good one.
Nick Hutchinson's book. I think that's his book. I need to read that, because he's like, you need to actually do what you're reading and like come back and apply it. You know?
Exactly. So doing that for about 3 years, then I kind of hit like a little sweet spot to get some success. And my wife and I now we met in that first company I started building, became friends, and 20 years later, here she is, right? Still stuck with me. She was never going to marry a Marine, first, by the way, just so you know, ever. And she never did, because I was retired. But once a Marine, always a Marine. So
yeah, she's still anyway. It doesn't matter. Right? I'm never going to do it. I'm the one that married me. All right, you're right. You're welcome.
So that's how I got into business and entrepreneurship. But the truth was, I grew up in Guyana, South America. I in a third world country. I was the kid that found a penny, punch a hole in it, shine it up, put a string to it, and sold it to tourists for $5. So I was always an entrepreneur at heart. And even while I was in the military, I used to have all kinds of little entrepreneur things on the side. I think my early year as a staff sergeant, I started delivering pizza, you know what I'm saying? Because I have my second kid back then, and the kids were eating faster than the promotion money could come. So my brother needed to do some extra money raising, because I was investing about 40% of my income at the time. So with the increase, I needed to still balance. I started driving for Domino's and stuff on base. So I got to know a lot of stuff on base, which helped me to connect with a lot of folks. So when I got into direct sales, that paid off in the long run, because I know a boatload of people, right? So a lot of things looking backwards, because you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't do it going forward. A lot of those started to help. And my top 3 things, starting business and the military, was always a great takeaway, is learning discipline, consistency, and the ability to plan, right? And 2 of those I learned, guess where? In the damn Marine Corps. The ability to plan and discipline, because heck, you don't make it out alive if you don't know how to do that at least, bro.
That's true. That's very true. Wow. You've had an adventure so far of a life.
So far.
From what I've heard, I'm like, wow, okay, homeless for 5 years in a car, and that was like your recovery time. Like,
yeah.
No. I don't know if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but if anyone's watching,
I know some Dragon Ball Z, bro.
Yeah. That was your time in the hyperbolic time chamber in the car.
There you go.
Guitar, and you come out, you're like, oh, let's go. I'm like, what happened to you? I went through the best 5 years of my life, just redoing myself over and over and over. You come out
Yeah.
like I'm good.
No, it's crazy. Because of those 5 years when I met my wife, she spent 4 of them with me. We weren't even married. She was in the car, bro. That's commitment right there.
Wow.
So, and if you ask her what was the best years of her life, she'll tell you it was that time. We were broke. We had no, we were just completely hungry. You can teach a lot of stuff. You can teach basic discipline, finance, entrepreneur, all kind, but you cannot teach hunger, right? So we were just two hungry folks, bro, together. She was and still is the best pilot slash co-pilot a brother can hand. That's a road dog right there, right? Even though she wouldn't give up the life she have now for that, and not that we're any less happier,
Yep.
but that's where she went back to, because at that point, well, we weren't even married. She didn't have to be there. She was there because she chose to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, see, fine ass stuff. She just walked in front of me, so you can't see her, but she. And I'm like, yeah, I can see what's going on, y'all. Anyways, I'm looking at her right now, and I'm watching her walk away. So she always walks away looking good.
That's funny. All right. So you had the 5 years in the car, doing your thing, got in there at marketing, and from there, what happened after that? Like, was it just like you just start building business left and right? Was it like, did you stay in the company, then work company you're in at the time, and then kind of branch off from there, or what happened?
Yeah, it kind of forced myself out to leave. Well, we all have goals and dreams, right? I have these big goals, big dreams. The life I'm living now is kind of something I've wanted. People used to laugh at me. Here's what I said: I want to have 2 vacations a year, 6 months apiece, different hemispheres of the world. Right?
Right.
Everyone thought I was cuckoo crazy, but now that I got that shit,
They
that's
all want it
different,
now. How do you do it?
right?
So what I did.
So how it all started was I watched my mentor, my first mentor in direct sales. He ran a lot of successful companies. He worked with the direct sales company I worked with as their corporate trainer, till he eventually left and launched his own direct sales company. And I followed him there to help build that company. He actually was the one that wrote the book, The Slight Edge, right? Because after my friend had given it to me,
Wow.
I was like, man, this dude is just bad. So when I saw that he was actually working with that direct sales company, I'm like, I got to get to know this guy.
Yeah.
Right. So it took me about that. I said one day, I wrote it down and in my phone, like, he's going to be my best friend. I had his name in my phone with a fake phone number, right? Because I just like there, and it says he's going to be one of my top 5 friends. From the time I did that for it to become a reality, it took 6 years. So the day I actually got his phone number, I was like, look, he was laughing his ass off, right? Because I was like deleting that number, putting in his real number. And I was like, look, you're going to be one of my top 5 friends. But how that happened was when I started the company he launched, it was in anti-aging skincare, selling anti-aging skincare stuff. Black dude, I don't have no business selling anti-aging skincare, but I live in California. Women love this stuff, man. So
there you go. Yeah, go for it.
right, we sold over $100 million in the first year of that stuff. So shit works. Anyways,
work for them, work for me. I got the money. I don't care. I don't need it.
You know what I'm saying? So putting all that into context, one of the things he did, he always just talk about it, was instead of explaining himself over and over and over, he wrote the book, The Slight Edge. It was a slight edge, things that we do, simple disciplines that can help you have massive success in your life by basically following the right habits every day.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I read that book, applied the slides in every area of my life. So I said, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write a book to teach people what to do. So my first book, called The Philosophy of Success. And I start to understand, because that's what he had me change, was my mind about it. And your philosophy, if everything you do is influenced by how you think influence what you say influence what you do influence the results. Those results compound over time, gives you a lifestyle. So if you want to change the way you live, you got to change the way you think, which is going to influence what you say and how you act, right? Same thing with you in finances, people. You got to give them the true financial education. The habits they break, they have to understand that those are bad habits first, and it's a problem, before you just go tell them, like, no, change this. They don't know why. If they're educated on why they need to invest, why they need to do this, and how good, like, oh, your payment for this car is $525. and you're doing it just because you get a payment, but they're getting 35% with your $500 and $35 payment. So you're actually paying for 3 cars instead of one. Then if your credit was actually 750 and you have a 525 payment, you'd pay that car off in half the time.
Yep.
When folks don't understand that, their philosophy is all skewed. So I
Right.
wrote that first book, The Philosophy of Success. And it, at the time, my wife and I was like the top 5% of the company.
Mhm.
So it wasn't that the book was that good. It was that 72,000 people in the company knew me and bought the book. So the book took off really well.
Yep.
And then after that, man, things started going. I started smelling myself, so I started feeling successful and shit.
I feel
So,
good. I was in the car
right, it's
5 years.
like,
I've
hey
got
man,
money
I'm
now.
running my soda off.
Yeah.
So we started speaking and training, and then we became the #1 trainers, or requested trainers, not just trainers, the requested trainers.
Requested trainer. That's different.
Okay.
You can be #1 trainer, but to be requested.
Requested.
That's the
That's a whole different ball game, bro.
that's a talent. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
skill. That is
So
like, yeah.
it was nuts. So at the time, my wife and I would just travel and go train. And every weekend we were in a different city, different country, training for the company, sell my books. Then we started setting up retreats, seminars. Then I wrote another book called Passion 365, basically how to ignite lasting joy and passion in your relationship, 365 days. We sold 105,000 copies of that one, right? So it's like, hey, we're getting moving on up to the east side in that ship. So
yes, it's another great book. Another great book.
right, another great book. So then a lot of folks, well, the reason we wrote that book was a lot of women in the company were like, Obom, man, you and your wife just have it together so well. Like, you need to write a book about this stuff. And it wasn't that we had it together so well that I'm that good. It was like, listen, bro, you screwed up in the first relationship. Whatever happened with you guys, my wife and I now, we committed even before we were dating. We went to a relationship retreat once a quarter, so 4 times a year for 10 years. We've done over 40 relationship retreats. We learned some shit about how to be a couple, right? So it didn't just happen. It wasn't just love. Love has nothing to do with discipline, right? And learning what you do. Plus, we read over 300 books together, like relationship books, right? So by the time I wrote that book, it was at the edge of about, I think at the time we had attended about 25 different retreats and read over 150 books. So you read on the same stuff so much, you become the information.
Right.
So we were just like this real cute couple, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, man, you need to write a book. So we wrote the book. Then they're like, you should be teaching this stuff. And I'm like, oh, really? You don't say. Well, how about if I teach this stuff for $1,600 a weekend? Will you attend? Yeah, 3,500 people later at like our biggest seminar, like, hey, that's a good 7-figure weekend, right? So that's how all that stuff started, right? And of course, all that money we started investing in real estate, doing this. Half of, before all that, when I started, my credit was interesting. I'll put it that way.
It was interesting. Collecting causing a lot of interest because it was interesting.
Like, what's your credit score? Interesting. I don't know. It was so low, you would think it was a baritone singer. Nobody, no.
You couldn't even be dumb on credit. It's like, nah, I can't give you gum.
No, bro.
Really, bro? No.
And you know why that didn't bother me? Because I didn't chew gum, so it's all good. Right? So
I like it. Yeah, exactly. I don't chew gum. Fuck it. But at some point, it will come back to be like, you have to get this resolved. If you don't,
absolutely,
it'll be very difficult. Right? Everything.
So when we did that, initially I paid someone. Actually, this is a good lesson for a lot of your listeners, because you in finance, and this will probably help out a lot. So I paid somebody to do my stuff, right? And then they cleared up all my stuff, and I'm like, within 9 months, almost a year, I'm like 800, baby. I'm like, yeah, I'm the man up in here. And 9 months after that, I paid somebody again to do it. And then I end up paying somebody to do it again, like 18 months later. I know you're looking at me like, why? Well, here's the deal. Because I never had the education.
To maintain
I still have the same bad habits, spending like an idiot.
You fix it, and you're like, I'm good. Fuck it. You fix it, I'm good. That's happened to so many people. And I'm like, you don't understand. You have to maintain this. This follows you for your entire life. They don't care if you're 85 and you did a whole bunch of great things. If you're borrowing money and you look like dirt and paper, they're gonna be like, "Why do you have bad credit at 85?" It don't matter, and you have to
Mhm.
maintain it. So that was that's an expensive lesson to be
Yeah,
like, "Here's
I
again,
jacked all that
and
stuff
again."
up, bro. Yeah,
Mm.
jacked all that stuff up. So after the third time, it was about getting. I was like halfway in between doing it again. And I see this. I'm like, I'm gonna have to pay somebody again in like 6 months. You know what? Let me try to figure out. It's like call one of the dudes, and he's like, man, this is what he said, and it pissed me off. He's like, my favorite client.
Because you keep coming back.
I'm like, what you say? He's like, you keep coming. I'm like, how many people come back? He's like, a lot of folks. I'm like, he's like, and then he's my boy. He was in the Navy. He's like, no, man. It's like the smart ones never come back, bro.
Oh,
Right? I'm like, well, you trying to be a smart ass because you know we make these Marine and Navy jokes, right? He's like, no, dude. He's like, the problem is you haven't paid attention to how to actually do this stuff. So I'm like, what do I have to do? He's like, it don't matter what I do for you. Like, you actually have to learn it and do it.
yeah.
So I was like, all right, like you're doing. I interviewed him like on that call and I asked him all that he did. And he told me all this. I'm like, that's a lot of shit. He's like, yeah, that's why you're paying me. So it was on a dare, like, you know what? I ain't never calling your ass again. And I went through everything he did, read the whole manuals. It took me about 6 months, which was roughly about the time my stuff wouldn't need to be fixed anyways. But what I was learning, I was starting to apply. So I was like naturally repairing my own stuff, learned all these letters. And then before you know it, you know, you just got to do it.
Yep.
No, it's not easy. It's simple. You just have to do it. And after I did that for myself, I was like, oh, cool, no problem. Fix my wife's, fix a few friends. And then I realized I'm an entrepreneur. This is a whole business. And that's when I created my credit cheat code system, right? If they go to creditcheatcode.com, I got my own system on there, how to get you into the 800 club. One of the things we used to do for our relationship company is like, how do you make your men more desirable? Get them with an 800 credit score. So we used to give folks, right?
That's funny. This is works. You'll get the wrong women with that though.
No, but here's the deal. Like you couldn't date unless you had the same credit score. Right?
Yeah,
and it's not that it had to get fixed, is that they have to fix it. So that means they learned the education, right? At the same time. So that's how a lot of that stuff started coming together for us, man. Start launching everything in my life. Literally, I basically turned into a way to profit and monetize it, create a business from it, or coach or advertise and help. So I'm the kind of guy, like I write books or I do coaching, consulting, and helping on stuff that I have done. None of it is from theory or what I think. And like, no, it's all just from the Marine Corps, leadership by example. If I've done it, I can teach you it. I don't have to study about it because I'm doing this shit, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
Wow. So then where does Underdog Millionaire come from? Or is that like your branding, your company? Is that your company now? I know you got or is there one of like your 20 companies? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the most recent, well, not most recent one, it's the last recent one, because the most recent one is what I just launched last year, 7-day work here.
That's right. You talked about that in your speech.
Yeah, so this one is the one I launched 3.5 years ago. Typically, I'll launch a company for and then I will teach a business partner who will become the CEO of that company 3 to 5 years. They'll take the company and run. I take 50% of the company, right? And then I launch something else. So as the momentum for this is kind of going down, where my CEO is running this company, I just recently launched the 7-day work year. And within the next year or so, I'm doing it, perfecting it. My CEO that's working with me is doing some of it, but I'm going to pick somebody else to help run that so I can still stay home and do what made me walk in the first place. Get laid and eat. That's it. I've reduced myself to 2 things, bro. Right? Food and sex. Not that hard.
So it's the most honest thing I've heard any entrepreneur person say. It's like, true. Look, I'm here to make money so I can get laid and eat. Why am I bullshitting anyone? Why? It's a good point. Why are we lying to each other? It's like,
that's it.
Duh. That's it.
Right? So check this out. Somebody, I don't care who you are, what you do, how much you love to help people. At the end of the day, what do you want to do? In order to live, I gotta eat. Yep. Well, I just want to get laid. And in order to get laid, I need food to get energy to keep doing it again.
Right. And with that requires
Well,
money. So let me get the money
right.
in the most efficient way with the least amount of effort. I get the most results and I have fun and do what I want to do.
That's it.
That's the
I'm not
formula.
that complicated, bro. I'm not that complicated.
Wow.
Right. And my wife says she wants one thing. She always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Hey, as long as you stay home, I can get laid. As long as I'm home too.
So stay home.
My wife shaking her head right
What
now,
about the
like,
kids? Nah, they're byproduct. They're fine.
right? They're a byproduct of that, bro. It's like,
They're fine. I need mine, and then I can ride for them.
right?
That's
So,
funny.
to your question, how Underdog came up, it was we were doing a lot of stuff online already. This was like 2019. It was trying to get folks to come online 2019, 2020. They didn't roll a deal with it. It's almost like the AI thing right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, and everybody was forced to go online. And that's when Underdog was fully like it started to explode because now they're paying attention to what we have to say because that's all they have to do. And what I did instead of because a lot of folks are well, like Dr. O, it's easy for you because you know you already got the money, you got this, that, whatever. And I said, you know what? Tell you what, at first it wasn't called the Underdog Millionaire. It was the Millionaire something, whatever. I can't remember. We changed the name because it was very similar to the undercover millionaire, and then whatever closer to undercover billionaire. And then my attorney told me like you'll probably end up getting sued by that company. You know,
Let's
so I'm
change
like,
it. Yeah.
but and I was like trying to figure out what am I going to do? And I was in the shower, and I'm like, well, I've always been the underdog, right? So the Underdog Millionaire was birthed when I said, here's the deal. I'm going to give myself $1,000 to start a business and build it to a multiple seven-figure business. Within the first like 90 days, we did over six figures. I think it was like 157,000 in the first 90 days of the launch of it. Then we took a lot of that money, invested into the company and ourselves and coach all us. So we built it the same way. And I was documenting the entire process for an entire year, showing people. I offered some ridiculous partnership opportunities in the beginning just to show people like you don't always have to. Some of the folks who said no, they're wishing they said yes right now, but that's not my problem, right? So literally, they're really wishing they said yes right now. But I tell them like this: sit and spin on it because you passed up that opportunity. Not my problem.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
Right. So
Oh.
but that's how Underdog started, right? Then, you know, we started focusing on doing, we were doing a lot of, because it was launching right around the time COVID was happening, right? We were doing a lot of weekend seminars and masterminds in a different state, different city. We were in Canada, we're in the US, Dubai, you name it. We were everywhere. And then COVID happened and we went online, right? So
Right.
that's what happened. And then because I was living in Georgia at the time, Georgia and Florida were the first two states that opened back up in the US, right? And of course, they were the first two states that had a whole bunch of other cases too. But somehow we missed all that shit. No one in our events ever had COVID either. So thank the Lord for that one, right? Praise Jesus. All right, since I'm in Mexico, Jesus, it's all good.
Same difference.
By the way, do you know why Mexico is such a blessed state, bro? Blessed country?
I have no idea.
There's a Jesus in every household.
That would make sense.
Yeah, AKA Jesus, you know, it's all good.
I did not know that. I haven't been there, so I wouldn't know.
No, because almost everybody's Jesus around here. Just, you know.
Yeah, because aren't they all, isn't it Catholic down there?
Yeah, mostly Catholic, and Jesus is spelled the same as Jesus, right? So it's just pronounced
differently. Yep.
Anyways, but yeah, so that's how it was formed, and we started doing a lot of masterminds, right? I love masterminds because the collective, especially I read Think and Grow Rich so many times, still do. It talks about the power. So there's something that happens when two or more mind comes together, it creates a third more powerful mind, right? It's Father, Son, Holy Ghost. It doesn't matter. It's the trinity of things, right? And you put two more minds together, you're going to create something better than what one can do. And the Bible says this, and 101 basically is 10,000 if it's multiplied, if you do it right. So we were doing masterminds, and when I took off 3 years ago, came to Mexico, And since we're being open, you're Marine, I can tell you the truth. Look, she just passed, so it's not even a lie. She's hearing all of it. She can come and verify this shit. 3.5 years ago, my wife, for those of you who don't know, what's my number one focus? Again, quick reminder, it's sex. And we had the baby, right?
Yeah.
You saw the baby.
Yeah.
She was the little one. She was in bed with us sleeping with us all the time. And I turned to my wife one night and I'm like, babe, I'm tired of rollover sex. And my wife's like, listen, bro, doors always open. But by the time I'm finished cooking, cleaning, taking care of the baby, you get what you get.
Yeah.
So good Marine, I said, shit, challenge accepted. Let's go on vacation and recalibrate some things.
Yeah.
And okay, babe. And then we came to Mexico, went to this all-inclusive resort, all you can eat, all you can drink. And my wife's Mexican, so the tequila was flowing like there's no tomorrow. And if you've never heard that song, that country song was so true. You know, tequila makes her clothes fall off. They're so right about that shit.
I have not heard that country song, but wow.
Bro. Then there's another one. I like it when it rains. So the song goes, I like it when it rains, because rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey, whiskey makes my baby just a little bit frisky, and that shit does.
Wow.
So between the whiskey and the tequila, okay, so I said to myself, why the heck would you go back home to a house where she's got to cook and clean and do all this other stuff, and you'll get leftovers when she's at the resort and sending you pictures in the middle of the day to come back to the bedroom? Hello. So that's when it all happened for me. And I said, nope, sold the house because we have a bunch of investment properties. And I was like, listen, I could go back to any of those if I need a house.
Right.
And we never went back. I just stayed in Mexico. And we only go back for specific events or renewing passports. That's about it, bro.
Wow. Just living life in Mexico.
Mexico. Listen, so watch this. So I'm here at my office. This, like, she keeps passing by to the closet. But look at my sexy wife is cooking. Right, look at that. She's making she's making chai tea and popcorn right now because her and my daughter are gonna go watch movies somewhere here in the suite. Now here's the deal: if all your meals were done for you, gourmet, every meal, all the snacks. My favorite number is 0. Dial room service and call whatever you want.
Right.
Whether it's ice cream you want, it doesn't matter. What if I remove grocery shopping from your list forever?
I've never thought about that ever.
Yeah.
That's never crossed.
You want me to tell you what my wife's biggest headache is? The moment we say we're going to go back to the States, because the U.S. only have 7 all-inclusive resorts in the entire country.
There's only 7? I didn't know there were any inclusive resorts in the United States.
Yeah, 7 in the entire country. It's a big-ass country. Do you know how much is in Cancun? 876.
Wow.
Do you know how much is in the country? About 3,000.
Oh.
So every time we think about going back to the States, whether it's an Airbnb, a hotel, or anything else, what's the first thing that's on my wife's mind?
Grocery shopping, food.
Grocery shopping.
Yeah.
The last time we went back home, that shit was a headache. You know what happens when she gets a headache?
You don't get what
I don't get laid. Yeah. That's what happens, bro.
It's a basic, you know what? What are all the things that prevent this, or all the things that allow this? Okay, let's focus more on what allows it to happen. I get more and more time with food. Yep. It's so basic. It's so simple.
It's so simple, bro. Listen, the old wives had it. The grandmothers knew it. They said the number one way to a man's heart is food.
Yeah. Yep.
They knew what was up. So everything I do is for that. Now she's happy. My wife don't cook unless she has to. You see, our suite's got a full kitchen. Do I cook? No, she makes tea. Even if she wanted to, she can call room service and have them deliver that shit right now. But, you know, she's still, you know, around the kitchen doing here and there, make some pop. Even I don't buy popcorn. They bring the shit. When you're ready, just put it in and pop it. You can go.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Right? Listen, every night, I know I read Admiral McCracken's book. I love it. Make your bed every day. But that's what the maids are for. every single day. They make my bed. I don't make my bed anymore. Screw it.
You're leveraging the shit out of everything.
Everything, bro.
Just so you can just wake up and like take a piss, go work out, and then look at your business, go, okay, I'm done, and just run off.
Literally. Literally.
Wow.
Imagine, so put this together. Imagine, even if you're married, you share some of that stuff. Dishes, you don't got to do. House, you ain't got to clean. Bed, you ain't got to make. Laundry, you ain't got to do. Food, you ain't got to cook. How much of your time do you cut out a day if you cut that out? How much more effective can you be during the day if you cut that out?
Wow.
So folks ask me, like, how do you get to do so much stuff? Because I don't do half the shit you do. 60% of the stuff on our plate, I've leveraged that out. Gone, done.
People. So that way you can just, wow.
Just do what I do. I'm literally a 50-year-old kid. Because what do kids do? Just whatever they want to do.
What they want.
They don't cook, they don't clean, they don't do nothing. If you could go poop for a kid, you would, but they got to poop for themselves. So that's the only thing I do for myself too. I mean, if the maids did that shit, I would take that service to them.
I need you to go do this for me. Oh, that's funny. The maids did for me. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, but they can't. So,
but
Joe. All right. So, okay. Wow. So, did you write a book on how to do this? Or do you teach courses on this on how to like?
So there's two books coming out in 25. The 7-day work year and the 7-figure work week. Right. So those two books are coming out. After the last 3 years of living here, kind of doing that, I released those. That's why we do the 7-day work year masterminds. Folks, like they come out here, I put them literally into my template. What time you sleep, what time you wake up, how you work out, what you do, right? So my schedule, my next book coming out, well, January next month, called Habit, is basically all the successful habits of high achieving entrepreneurs, right? So for example, my day's broken down into 4 quadrants. I have sleep, which is midnight to 8. 8 to noon is morning routine. That's when I get up, go to the gym, spend time with God, spend time with my wife. We get done, we work out. I go to the spa, we get a jacuzzi, hot plunge, cold plunge. After I'm done beating up my body, I go take care of my body.
Yeah.
Then when that's done, I have breakfast, get done. I start work at 12 noon, noon to 6. I get 6 hours a day of uninterrupted work. Like I'm working. Don't need nobody to bother me. When that's done, it's dinner with me and the family. That's called family time. So it's sleep, morning routine, work, and family time. That's my day. That's it. I don't work at the time I'm doing anything else. I don't do anything else at the time I'm working. That's it.
Wow.
Very simple. So when folks come here for a week and we stick them into that schedule, you know, it takes 21 days to create a habit. They only got 14 days left because I already took care of a third of it.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
They go back and they're like, man, doctor, oh, this was, and some of them, when they go back, they're like, man, I missed the cold plunge. I missed the sauna. I missed the spa. I missed it. Hey, you can just come back and live here too, bro. It's all good.
Oh my God. I gotta go back and watch this and listen to it and like break down my life in the 4 quadrants. Like, wow, you start work at 12. See, because everyone's like, you get up early and work your ass off. And I'm like, you don't have to do that.
Bullshit, bro.
You have to do that. You can have things set up so that we have to bust your butt and all that stuff. It's like,
listen, put it this way, depending on your, if my target audience are entrepreneurs, what is the time that they work?
I guess 12 to 6.
It's between noon to 6. That's their ideal time.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
What the hell do I need to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock for?
Unless you prefer to, unless you got young kids, that's it.
I did that shit for 20 years. No,
Marine
my
Corps.
kids sleep with me. The blessing we had is before we got into this, I trained my kid in the womb because I'm a behaviorist. We know what to do. My kid has been sleeping midnight. She doesn't get up till noon. She sleeps minimum 12 to 14 hours a day.
Wow.
Right? So that gives me and my wife enough time in the morning. Still, she operates like her own little person. And here's the deal. When she gets up, she has a list of things she's got to do. She's in habit boot camp. Every day she get up, brush her teeth, check her little boxes, do her homework, get her stuff done. Then she get on her iPad, or she can watch a TV or her list of shows that she can watch, or she get on her pad with her downloaded videos. When we come back, she's ready to roll for the day. Okay, great. What are you doing? So we chose Mexico because my wife is Mexican. We're teaching her Spanish as a second language, right? So she's learning and she's conversing, and now we're testing her with all the people here at the resort. They're telling us now, like feedback, like she's getting better with her conversational Spanish and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when she's got Spanish down pat, who knows? I'm probably going to pack up and go to Europe, right? We're probably going to take French or something else, but it's immersive for her. But wherever I go in the world, my schedule will never change, bro. It's been like that for 15 years. It's not going to change. Yeah.
Because you asked that one question earlier in your talk. You said, "Self, how can I?" It was either how can I do this or how can I make this where I only work 7 days at the year. It's the question again. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's a good question to ask yourself because then you're like, how do I set this up to where I can do this and I don't have to, 10x
Absolutely.
everything and do everything. I'm like, it's crazy shit.
Yeah. It's simple. Because the thing is, no one, like Oprah Winfrey's day is not different than yours or mine. It's got 24 hours in it.
Yeah, I heard about it. Where did I hear what was it? I was listening to an audiobook. It was I can't think of it. It was about working smarter, harder, and she wakes up at like 9 or something, has coffee, whatever,
Yeah.
works out, then like takes lunch at noon, and then like for 2 hour, 2 to 2 hours a day, maybe four, she works on a business and then she's done.
Yeah.
I forget what book it was.
Listen, bro. Let me tell you the difference between poor, rich, and wealthy people. Okay. Poor people are trying to figure out what to do. So they get up at the time that the person who's rich, which is their boss, tell them that they got to come to work.
Yep.
Right? It's poor people. Rich people are the ones out there telling you, like, you got to get up at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock and do this and do that and blah, 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 blah. Wealthy people get up when they're done sleeping. Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
Like when they're done sleeping, I'm like, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't do crap unless I'm done. I get up at 8 because I know I need the 4 hours. Like when I go to bed, like I really only need 6 hours, but I'm there. What happens with what do I do with that extra 2 hours?
Whatever you want to do.
What do I do with that extra 2 hours?
You're getting laid.
Okay. The number one reason I'm doing all this crap in the first place. Right? So what I do is I'm be completely honest with you. I get up early, I go hit it, take another power nap right after that, and then I get up at 8, and then I go to the gym with my wife. I already hit it, I got some, I'm good, I'm in a good mood. I woke up in a good mood because I got laid. I'm good to go. We work out. I don't eat till after workout's done till around like 11:30 because I'm fasting, right?
Yeah.
The whole time. All right, we get there. So when I'm done, because when I go to work at noon to 6, I don't need to be disturbed. So I don't need to be interrupted by food because if you eat in the middle of working, you're going to get lethargic. Yeah, people don't think about that. So, oh, I need to work and then go to lunch, and then you come back from lunch. What happened? The itis done kick your ass, man.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad you're the last person I talked to. Now I'm going to New Year and go, wait a minute, what's my schedule going to be from now on? What I want it to be. Okay. Do things I need to do in between these times and just do me, Well, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but on our end, we got 3 cats and dog. One of the cats loves to fucking jump up and knock shit off to get us up at like 5:30, and we're like, I don't want to do this right now. I'm not a morning person, so I can't. Like, when I wake up, the last thing on my mind when I wake up is sex. I wake up and I'm like, I need like an hour. I'll put some stuff on, take the cold shower, wake me up, take my little crane or whatever. But like to me, I literally have to like warm up today to put where I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go and get shit done. That's me. But like, I wake up, I'm like, don't touch me, leave me alone. Let me come to the world. I'm friendly. I like people. I wake up, I'm like, fuck you, get away from me, don't touch me, get away. I don't care.
I don't need nothing.
I need time to myself where I can be like, let me get to the point where I can like talk. Just talk.
Yeah.
You know?
So here's something that's crazy cool for you. How this started for me when I did it. Right. The times that I chose works for me. Okay. You can have an ideal time and then you can have your transitioning time.
Right.
So I nailed my time down. I've been using it now for almost 15 years, but it took me about 6 months to adjust and get it down right. Okay. Right. Because I had to adjust with the world and whatever. But anything you do will always move and bend to your will. But what you do is you figure out first, hey, what is ideal for you? How much time do you need to sleep? If you actually need to figure out how much time you need to sleep, you can do an impromptu sleep study. Here's how you do that real quick. You shut down from Friday to Sunday. And this is easy. You get your room and you bar up every area that light can come in, so you don't need that. So you go to sleep Friday night, no alarm clock, nothing. You wake up Saturday morning, you record the time you went to sleep and the time you woke up. Do the same shit again Saturday night and Sunday for Monday morning. You take those three, divide it by 3, and that comes out with how much time that your body is naturally required to sleep, your circadian rhythm, right?
Right.
So when you do that, it's okay, this is the time I need to sleep to have an optimal brain. Then you decide what time you need to go to sleep and to what time you need to wake up, right? So if you get up at 5, then you know your ass needs to go to bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, bro.
Yeah.
If you're going to get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So that's how you would adjust that. Now, if you can, I know I needed 6 hours, but 8 is what I give myself because I'm like, I'm going to get 8 hours. I'm going to be rested, but I'm also got to have time to get late in the middle of the night, whatever. Because there's always something going on in my head. The reason why high performance people are always highly sexed is you're dealing with creative energy all the time. And when you go to sleep and you finally rest, that energy is creating when it has nowhere else to go. Where does it go? South. Right? So if you don't use it, like if I really don't need the creative energy during the day, I'm going to get some bow tying. But if I need the creative energy, I'm not getting late because I'm going to keep that built up inside of me so that I can use that energy where I need it.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Napoleon was talking about, the power of sexual transmutation. If you don't use it for sex, you use it for something else and you transmute it. Well, after you finish transmuting, it's now useless to keep yourself wound up.
Yeah.
Let it go. Right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason why God said you need to get married before you start doing this doing the huckabuck. Anyways, so that's how you would find your sleep study, get your time in, and start your day. So once you put yours together, your framework, then you start notifying the people you work with normally, like, hey, from this time to this time, I'm no longer working. I'm not going to be available. Here's what you can do. If you want to be able to understand how to set up other automatic things to respond and help, go read the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Like that'll teach you how to do that stuff, right? But you can set up all this automatic stuff so that your life is focusing on what makes Matt optimal.
Yeah, so, what I've learned is that for me, like during the week, because I'm a night owl, I'll stay up late and I'll wake up. But ever since I hit teenagers, just like, well, this is who you are, and the thing is, when I was working, I would get up early and I would get used to it. But then as soon as at one point I got fired, I immediately was like, stay up late, get up late. It was immediate, and I was like, all right, I can fight this. Or I could better yet work with it, because fighting it is just because it's like for me and anyone else in a morning person, you understand when you wake up, you're like, oh, and you sit up there or you lay there for a few minutes and be like, okay, the last rep. Oh, okay, we're up. Now that's like it's just I don't like being in a state. I like high energy and all these things, but I wake up, I'm like, yo, I need to take some time. So I've learned to be like, give yourself some time and grace, ground yourself, relax. And let's gradually get with the day. And it's messed up because even if it's a day of emergency, I'm like, fuck, why are you having this right now? I don't care. I'm trying to sleep for emergency. But that's just how I am. It's just like, oh my God.
Right. So here's one of the ways that will help fix all of it.
Yeah.
Whatever time you have to work, whatever time you set, that is it. That's all you do. Work. Nothing else. No, this like social media, none of that stuff. I was sharing this to an audience the other day. One of the guys who know me on social media goes, yeah, but Dr. O, I see you on social media all the time. It's like, no, you don't see me on social media all the time. You see my posts on social media all the time. There's this little tool called Scheduler. I schedule that shit.
Yeah.
Once a week, it's scheduled. Like, he said, but I see your stuff like it. And it's funny, as he said it, he caught him. It's like, I see you post it like every 2 hours. I schedule that shit like every 2 hours. I don't post like every 2 hours. Now I post good content, so there's good interaction with my stuff. So you see my stuff all the time and you think I'm on.
Right.
But when I'm working, I am working. The only thing that can distract me is my wife. And she doesn't like nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Now that we've got the baby and all this stuff, she's not doing the stuff she used to do back in the days, like walk around with lingerie and all this other stuff. She don't do that no more.
Right.
Right? That stuff used to bring problems in the focus part of our relationship, right?
Right, right.
One sec. Miracle would like to say something, yes? Oh, he is, huh?
What did she? I couldn't hear what she said. What she say?
He said when he's working, he's really, really, really working.
You're
Right? Because
focused. These are your
right
hours.
there's
I am.
right. She understand. Listen, that's one of the biggest lessons right there, bro. My 6-year-old knows that. Why? Because she's been seeing that since she was 2 years old. Well,
Mm,
18 months, right? I would sit her on my lap. This is why sometimes she sees me and she'll just come and want to sit down. It's out of habit, right? Because I used to do it with her, especially when COVID happened. She would sit in my lap for 6 hours a day, listen to everything I said. Now that she's getting older, she's asking questions about this, about that, about this, about that, all this other stuff. Dad, you said this. What is that? Right? This kid knows more about business than some adults.
because she's immersed in it. It's part of
She's
the
immersed
upbringing.
in it
Understand
every
stuff.
single day.
Yep.
She doesn't know what sales is and what objective handling is, but she does it all the time. Right? The
Yep.
other day, I have one left, but the other day, so all my toes are still painted. We had the resort, so I do mani pedis all this, like every week we've got a mani pedi, right?
Yeah.
So for the last 2 years, this chick's been trying to get me to paint my nails. For my birthday, which was a week or 2 weeks ago, we went and do another family mani pedi as normal. And she's like, basically, I was like, oh, let me think about it. She goes, Dad, you've thought about it long enough.
Damn. Calls you out, and you're like, you're right. Done.
What am I gonna say? So I painted all my stuff, which was a whole other lesson, but we ain't got time to talk about that one. But they do what they see. She has her schedule. I remember when my daughter was asking a lot of her friends that, oh yeah, just put it on your calendar for us to meet up again, because she meets kids at the resorts all the time. Parents look at her like, put it on your calendar. Yeah, because she has her calendar. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My wife has a calendar. She walks around here. Every week, my wife lays out the schedule when I'm working, what's for dinner, where we're at, which restaurant we're going to. Like that's done, right? My wife runs the house. She is the house director. Regardless of wherever we go, here's what my daughter knows. Don't matter which hotel we go to, they all have big ass mirrors. The one with the biggest mirror has the family schedule. Every single time, everywhere we go.
Wow.
Right? She knows that. So if she's missing something, she goes to the mirror, and then the bathroom mirror always have her schedule on it.
Right.
Her schedule has a stuff with a little, it's laminated with little check boxes that she got to go check. Okay, brush my teeth, did this, did that, did homework, right? Check, 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 check. She doesn't have the impetus in her mind to be like most kids, like, I don't want to do this. For her, it's a check mark. Because if you don't check the boxes, when the maids come and clean and put the chocolates down on the pillow, you ain't getting one. So just like I want to do this shit for sex, she does it for chocolate. Our reward system is built in daily around here, bro.
Wow.
Right. So it's those habits we teach ourselves and our kids that help us to become successful. Teach people the same thing, man. They have the right financial habits, they can't go broke.
Right.
Right. If they're the wrong ones, well, that's why they got to come to you.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you mess your credit again. Woo! Fair client. Why? Because you don't learn this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's why. Repeat.
And that's the first time I ever heard the term favorite client, and I was mad. Like most people, I don't mind being their favorite client, but for that one, it just alerted to me. It was like flashing red, like dumbass, 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 dumbass. I'm like, I'm done being a
Fix
dumbass.
it, let it go. Fix it, let it go. And then it's like, you don't want to do that. It's such a
Yeah.
It really sucks.
Yeah. Anyways, man, listen, this was probably one of the funnest interviews I had.
I hope it was the fun one because it's me.
It was, bro.
Duh, it's me.
You know what it is? I think with our platforms, right? We let people be. It's like Marianne Wilson in her poem, The Greatest Fear, right? When we shine as our authentic selves, we give people the ability to do the same thing, right? I mean, if you came on, you would have gotten the same stories and it would have been polished if you were polished. But I mean, we open.
Yep.
right? So you're gonna get the raw, authentic, transparent piece of my ass today. You know what I'm saying? That
Exactly.
didn't even sound right. You could edit out that piece and then like see y'all starting talk with all the gay
Pause.
stuff up around here. Like,
Yeah. Pause. Dr. Obom, how to leverage the shit of life. I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't do anything else. How do everyone else does things for me. I work, but that's it. The cook,
yeah,
clean, walk dogs,
crazy,
with my
crazy.
kid. I everyone else do it for me.
Yeah.
Leverage. Wow.
So before we wrap up, man, what else you have? And thanks for having me on. By the way, Matt, I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, thanks for being on. You're welcome. And I was like, I gotta have this guy on. I swear that talk, I was like, he has to be on. I have to ask some questions and just what he thinks, what he knows, and what he does. And I'm like, that's how he does it. He
Well,
does the minimum amount what's required. Everything else, you do it, you do it, you do it. And here's a schedule, and then you do it. You know,
that's
like
it.
it's simple.
That's it.
Do I have? I swear I have more questions. Okay, so let me ask you this:
Yeah.
when it comes to business
Yeah.
and people, I mean, right now in the United States, I don't know, it's like in Mexico, but right in the United States, like the economy isn't the greatest. Inflation sucks. We'll see what happens in the next 4 years. Not to
Right.
make it political, but how can someone like if someone's in business right now and their business is not where they want it to be and they want it to be like, cash flowing, like to where you're at, like what should they do? What's the strategy they should do to start? Hey, here's I'm at today. Here's how, and if I make changes today, I can be at point B to where it's, I'm working 6 hours a day and everything else is outsourced and all that stuff. It's kind of vague, but trying to, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, if you're
No,
not
no, no.
where you want to
I
be,
got you.
yeah.
Three things they need to do, bro. Simply three things. First thing, find the top three people in your niche and find out what they're doing. Best thing you can do is you can watch, stalk. You got social media, you can watch and stalk them for a while, or you can treat them to a virtual lunch, or if you're there close to where they're at, take them out to lunch. Okay.
Mm,
Thing about successful people is every successful person loves to share what they've done and how they did it. This is what most people don't understand. Take them out to a free lunch. You know what we like? Even though I wouldn't mind a free lunch. I'll tell you whatever. At a free lunch, it's all good.
hey,
So
you get
take them
paid
out
for
to
it. You
learn.
leverage free lunches. What you
All right.
I leverage free food. Have someone else take
That's
out
it.
the
That's
lunch.
it. Take them out to lunch, learn what they do. Number two, if it ain't gonna work for free, pay for it. So either get them to coach you or mentor you, right? So you pay for it. What's going to happen is you're doing what you're doing and you're not learning from them. What you're doing is you're compressing time frames when you pay someone for their help and their advice,
Right.
right? You're now taking how long they've done it. Like if somebody gets me for coaching consulting, they're not just getting me because they hired me to help them with this. They're getting the same guy. Like Walmart's been my client since '09, Jafra
Right.
Cosmetics, Nice
Yeah.
Media Co. with Chevron, Walgreens, right? And these companies that are huge multi-billion dollar companies, we've done over $100 billion in revenue for them and all the other 112 different companies that my wife and I built and sold, and the 9 that we're running right now, they're getting that guy to help them with their business. And they'll get him to pay pennies on the dollars. Or I pay somebody says, listen, pay me $7,500, come spend a week with me. I'll teach you whatever you need to know in Cancun, Mexico. And folks, oh, that's too much. Well, dumbass, you know what's costing you to be as stuck
Oh
as
my
you are right
God.
now?
Saying it $100, that'll set you up to make millions. That's like a drop in the bucket to what you'll get
Right?
out.
And here's the deal. Imagine what a week of my time is worth. Now I do this for fun because I bring people here and I'm teaching them this stuff and going through the business can go around, right?
Yeah.
Number three is start reading more books related to your niche.
Mm.
It's not that hard, right? You do those three things, I promise you. I promise you, if you do those three things, well, it's one, but if you do all three, hey, can't nobody stop you. In the next 90 days, you won't have the same problem you had 90 days ago. Guaranteed. Guarantee it.
And that's all she wrote. Done.
That's it. People think it's got to be big and fancy. Like right now, if I really want to know well, all right, I'm just, here's a little hack. Want to know what Elon's been doing, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Good. So I want to invest in this company. What they're doing. Once I invest in their company, what do I have to do as a shareholder? I got all the information coming to me. There's no more questions about it. Plus, I get an ROI from my investment. It's not that hard, bro.
That makes sense.
Invest where you need to know because you're saving yourself time and energy. You're taking that person's time and their energy. Yeah, you're paying them because they're giving you value.
Right. Either in the form of a lunch that you're paying for or you hire them.
It's not that hard.
I've heard the lunch thing before, and I can't think of where right now. Like, it's not the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, because you know why? Shit works, right? If they have the time, they'll do lunch with you or whatever. Like right now. So here's what I do. I'll tell people, listen, you can come and learn from me for free. Absolutely. And you're like, there's got to be a catch to it. Yes, I'm not gonna pay for you to come and stay at the resort. You got to pay for that shit.
That would make sense.
But you can come spend a week with me. Hell, if you want to spend a month, spend a month. Just pay for your food and stay.
Pay for your shit.
Not that hard.
So either we pay for itself, spend time, or we pay you directly, and it works out, and you're sort of like, I feel like, yeah, it makes sense.
Right. So I don't eat cheap, so I don't live cheap. So it's not going to be cheap if you come to stay with me for a week.
Right.
Right. People, why is it so much? Gee, I don't know. This is how I live every day. It's not so much to me.
Right.
Here's what a mentor told me years ago. If money is your problem, 99% of your problems can be solved. All you got to do is out-earn your problems.
That makes sense.
I don't care what the problem is, bro. Think about it. Put it on the table. 99.9% of it gets solved by money. I guarantee it. Right? You can don't do it, bro. You're gonna hurt your head doing that shit.
You can tell I'm thinking about it.
Yep. You're gonna hurt your head doing that shit. It ain't gonna work.
Oh my God. You're so right on that. Wow. All right.
Right?
That's it.
That's it,
it's just so simple. I'm like, that's it. That's it.
But really, listen, I'll put it to you this way spiritually. What did Jesus say? There's only two masters, God and money. Money is more powerful than the devil. He didn't say nothing about the devil. He said God and money, but you can't serve both. And if you serve the right one, the other one becomes your slave.
Right.
Yep. Unfortunately, hashtag I've made money my bitch. Hello, because I serve God.
Right.
You got no time, right? But years ago, I'd be like, oh my gosh, no. Right? The problem with most people who don't have it is because they have an unhealthy relationship with it. And they've been listening to everybody else. But then again, the Bible says, because people, the Bible says that the love of money is root, or money's the root of all evil. It didn't say that. It said the love of money. And the Hebrew word for the love of money is a way of life. If your way of life is about money, that's evil.
That makes sense.
They misinterpret the whole shit.
Right. Because people don't do their own research.
They don't do their due diligence, bro.
Yeah, they just go by, okay, what you say must make sense. And it's like, it's not the case.
Yeah. Right. Here's another one that puts people in poverty. It's better to give than to receive. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's not. That's not what the Bible says either. In the original Hebrew context, it says it is better to be in the position of giving than into the position of receiving.
Right.
So we try to shorten things and we lose a lot in context. So when I got it,
of giving than to be in the position of receiving. Because yeah, I remember that saying. I remember that hearing years ago as a kid. I was like, wait a minute, better to give than receive. And I'm like, but you can't escape it. Like if I give, you're receiving it. Like you can't. That I was like, that makes no sense. That sounds so dumb. What do you mean? So if I give someone, someone receives, but then if I receive it, I'm like, oh my God, better. It was a conundrum for me as a kid. I was like, this makes no sense. Oh.
Jesus also said that money really is the cause of everything. He didn't say any, like some things, he's all things. And nobody's got to believe me. Just go do their own research. It's right there. We have the same Bible. It's in there. They just keep misreading over the same stuff I'm catching.
Right. Right. Not reading it. They're just going off what someone tells them at like church and things. And I'm like, you have to do it yourself and read things yourself. What it is. Most people don't. They're like, okay. Yeah. Anyways.
So before we get off on a tangent, here's the last thing I'm going to say about this one, because I want people to get this one right. Since we're talking about money and gold and all this other stuff. So I had looked at the Bible, Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Right? If you consider yourself a Christian, and that is the basic instruction, and you've never read it, how would you know what God has in store for you?
You wouldn't.
Right. And if you were to check in the world right now, for everyone who call themselves Christians, 99.999% have not read the Bible cover to cover.
No, they wouldn't. No,
They haven't, bro. They haven't. So if the book gives you all you want and you haven't read it, now you know why you're broke. That's why I wrote my book. This is why Christians are broke. Yeah.
No apologies either.
None.
None. Like, that's what it is.
That's it. Right? I mean, think about it, right? Like, as an American citizen, if you don't know your rights, you don't have any.
Yep. You don't.
So instead of doing all this stuff with listen, you can see we both have the same pigmentation. Instead of being pulled over by the cop and starting to act stupid and pretend like I wasn't speeding or doing anything else, and I know when he walks up and he sees my pigmentation, things are going to get different. I could try and say all that I want. Or as he's coming, there's normally a 5-minute wait before they get to your car. Yeah. Because they check all kinds of stuff, run the plates and make sure there ain't nothing on there while you waiting there. You know what I do in that 5 minutes? I call my freaking attorney. So when they come, I got my attorney on here. I'm just trying to figure out what I got. Do you know how different they treat me when my attorney's on the phone?
Oh, but they go, oh, okay. Yep. Because they it's going to be recorded and taken down and everything else. Yep.
So, like, my experiences aren't the same. You know what I call that? Let's be honest. I'm going to give you a joke for today. That's my white card. I get an attorney.
Funny.
Speed dial number 3 on my phone. Number 3, especially when I lived in Virginia and California.
Well, I live in Virginia.
Man, listen, man. It just so happened that them cops in Virginia love a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know Virginia cops don't blab. I've known about it for years. I remember when I was in the A Corps in my platoon, a couple of guys were police officers, and they would say, like, it would be a traffic court, right? The judges in Maryland would be like, "Oh, okay, you can let go, slap in the wrist." They're like, "What?" But Virginia was like, "No, done. You're getting a punishment." I was like, "Ooh, all right, yep. Don't care."
Yeah, bro. So I've always learned to leverage. One of the first direct sales company I got into was a company that used to sell legal insurance.
Oh, I know that company.
Right. So that same company, I used to use them all the time to go to court for me and fight my traffic tickets, especially when I was stationed in Virginia, going to New York, driving that corridor. You know how many moving violations I received? Quite a few. Right? Quite a few. So, but even all that stuff happened, people are like, "You ain't mad?" No, I'm not mad. I got an attorney. And I have one in every state. So I send them to court. Like, why get mad, bro? It was fun to me. It's like, who's going to pull me over next? And then one of the things, I got to jump off here soon, but one of the things I used to get excited about that actually cops stopped pulling me over is I used to wait to see when I'm going to get pulled over. So the universe was just like, this is too much fun for you. We're not sending anybody your way.
No more.
Okay, no more. Except for the times when I was driving a little too fast with a heavy foot. But
yeah.
So I'll tell you what. One time I got out of a very fast speeding ticket. Now when the cops pulled me over and he goes, "Sir," I said, "Officer, I know what you're going to ask. You need license and registration. It's right here." When I looked down at my speedometer, it was about 121. I know it's like everybody probably tell you to get there. How much is it? Is this something that I'm going to have to go to jail for? I was just in a hurry to go home and get laid. He starts cracking the hell up.
Hurry home and get laid.
He starts cracking the hell up. And he couldn't hold it in. Right. And then he basically, he dropped it down by 3 miles, which was right under reckless driving. But I still had to pay a ticket for like $250.
Right.
right? Because if he went up to that other bracket, I was gonna be afraid to drop the soap. So no, thank you very much.
Very expensive bill to get laid.
Yeah, right.
Woo.
Now, yeah, another time I got pulled over and I asked the cop, I'm like, officer, what's the donation to this? It was in Virginia. What's the donation? What's my donation for the state of Virginia? And he said, huh? I said, I've been moving and I noticed that it's a donation for that. I don't mind what it is. And the guy looks at me like, I was like, I know everybody's always trying to get out of a ticket. I'm in the wrong. I'm just trying to do what's right. He's, are you in a hurry for something? It's like, yes, sir. I was trying to get back to base, da, da, da. And he's like, oh, you're in the military? Yes, I'm a Marine. He goes, no way, my father was a Marine, right? So then, right? So the thing with people is they're always trying to get out of stuff. I'm like, just have a conversation. You know how many times that saved me, man? Otherwise, I'm trying to be whatever, and they're like, sir, no. They're gonna ask you for your driver's license and registration. Have the shit when they pull you out, man.
Right.
Go, officer. Most of the times I'm very prepared. My wife's always just sitting and shaking her head. Right. One time she was doing that, cop looked at me and he goes, why is your wife shaking her head? She told you to slow down, huh? I was like, yes, sir. She did a couple times. I was just telling her that we're just going to go 2 more exits and we're going to stop. Right. And she goes, well, or he goes, well, I'm glad I was here. And I said, I guess you proved my wife right. So I'm going to be doing a whole lot of housework for a very long time. And he starts laughing. And then he goes, and on top of that, you're going to pay this fine for $121. Yes, sir. No problem. Right. And I was like, when's the court date? Like, and I always play nice because what do I know? Every time I get done, I call my attorneys.
Right.
Who will go to court and fight the stuff. Be mad, man.
It makes sense.
Leverage, bro. That's it. Anyways.
Today's episode has been brought to you by Leverage. Learn it. Or buy Dr. Obom's books and shit. I leverage.
Leverage and sex. Go get it.
Leverage and sex. Go get both.
You know what? I'm gonna write that new book, bro. Leverage and sex. You want to co-author it with me? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll write whatever the wherever I can. But like, this is what I don't understand about leverage and sex.
Yeah.
They're both underutilized. Wow.
Oh man. Huh. All right, brother. No, we gotta run. I overextended myself. I got a call in like a minute.
I got to call in a minute too as well. Oh man.
Happy New Year's, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks. We got to do this again. Let's catch up on the back end. This has been fun. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for being on.
All right. Absolutely. Have a good one, my brother.